last summer, end of July, August, I'd get short of breath just walking. I would walk 10 feet, flat ground. Stairs were my enemy. I would be so out of breath for no reason. So finally, I'd had enough. I called my doctor, made an appointment, went in. He did some tests, looked at my EKG, said, it looks like you need to go see a cardiologist. Something doesn't look right. Cardiologist does the same stuff, puts me through some tests, says it looks like heart disease. So we're going through all the tests, and during this time, I'm just feeling worse and worse. We're waiting for one more test. We're going to do a CT test that Thursday. That Sunday morning, we were on time to church, actually a little bit early, and that's never the case. I have her drop me all up the hill, which normally we come in downstairs, drop the kids off, come up the stairs. Like, baby, I can't do stairs today. Just not feeling good. She was wanting me to turn around and go home. Like, no, I got to teach Sunday school. Let's go on in. About that time, before we sit down, I just looked at him like, I think we need to go to the hospital.
So I got the car and I pulled up, and we have officers that serve on Sunday, and he came out and met me, and he said, go ahead and park your car. You're not going to transport him. We're going to make sure he is in an ambulance and on his way to Baptist Hospital. We were brought into the emergency room, and they went through the same sort of testing that Neal had with the cardiologist, like they were doing a CT scan, and they said they were doing an echocardiogram. So he was going through some of these things he had already had. So we were just waiting. Dr. Jackson happened to be there that morning, and she came in and since she said, you have a massive blood clot and that has to be removed. Do not move. She said, you go pack his bag. We've got one of the best doctors that's on staff here today. I don't know what he's doing here, but he's here and he knows what's going on with you, and he's going to take care of you. The procedure, from my understanding, was to go in through his the artery in his leg and basically pull the clots out, which is something it's not a routine procedure. It's not without risk, but it is the treatment for this. ECMO didn't come along till later. While they were in actually trying to remove that clot from him, they described him as being purple from like the shoulders up and struggling to breathe. Dr. Diaz explained to me that he put him on a ventilator at that point. He did speak to him, do you want help breathing? And he said yes. He said he then went into cardiac arrest. They put him on the ventilator. They had to do chest compressions on him for about 30 minutes. So when Dr. Diaz is the one that really kind of broke down and shared the scenario with me of what happened with the cardiac arrest, putting that on there, he told me that it was a specialized machine that would circulate his blood and oxygenate it. So it was helping in that capacity. But he also explained to me that the way that it was inserted to save his life, it could not stay that way because there was no filter to the brain. The filter is your lungs. This did not go through there. So he could only stay on for a finite amount of time. 5 days is what they were looking at, and then it becomes very risky. So that Thursday night before was definitely that moment for me where I knew the next morning they were going to take him off that machine, and they were going to take him off the ECMO, and he was going to have to survive it with some significant complications, or he would be gone within 10 to 15 minutes. So I knew that if Neal was going to go, that it was going to be my faith that was going to have to carry me along with our community and our family. But I prayed for that to not be God's will and to keep him here with me, but restore him.
It's a little bit surreal that everybody was going through all this, and I was just kind of laying there because I didn't have any control over it. The doctors didn't have any control over it. Lindsay didn't have any control. Looking back, that was God's the only one that had any control. And I don't know if I was strong enough, or if I would be strong enough if I was put on the other side. It's been harder, I think, on my 10-year-old. Although he showed more faith than anybody. He was telling everybody that my dad's going to walk out of there. And nobody believed. A 7-year-old was scared to see me with all the wires coming out. It was hard on them, but they didn't know how to express it.
Tony, who is one of the team members here, one night I came in by myself. I think it was probably like Monday night or Tuesday night after this happened. And he said, do you know what all of this does? And he was pointing to the machines and the ECMO. And I said, I don't. And he said, well, I'm about to give you a tutorial. And he went through every single machine, every single drug. He explained to me what it was doing for Neal, how the machine was working to save his life, and what I should expect, what would be signs of something good versus what they don't want to see. He really took, I think it was almost an hour to really go through that with me. So I was prepared for when I met the doctors every morning and they were talking this language. He wanted me to understand. They were all very kind and considerate and paid attention to our needs as well as Neal's. I think what was really wonderful is Neal's an Alabama fan, so nobody else can watch any other kind of football game on when that's on. This happens during football season, and that was one of the things the nurse, his name is Zach, he'd be there during the day. He's like, what is he like? And I was like, he loves Alabama football. He goes, well, so do I.
Felt like they cared about me. It was like I was a part of their family. And the thing that it took a while, and even me getting out, every time somebody would come in that hadn't talked to me yet, hadn't seen me since I woke up, or they'd been on the ship, everybody kept calling me the miracle patient.
Yeah.
And until I heard the numbers and 10% chance of survival, 60% of the people don't even make it to the hospital, and I kind of understood then what miracle patient meant. But they treated me, it was almost like family taking care of me, not just people doing a job.
The entire team there, from the doctors to the nurses to the custodians that came in and cleaned the room, that was the most caring group of people. Dr. Diaz, I've never had a doctor that has given me their personal cell phone number. And not only give it to me, but responds. By the time I left after 30 days, it was like family.